What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today I will be taking a walkthrough of CF Toronto Eaton Centre. This is not only one of the biggest malls in Ontario, it is also one of the biggest and busiest malls. And this mall is also a major destination for people who are visiting Toronto. So I'm going to be heading down these escalators, and I'll be starting off with level 1 of the mall. As you can see right here, this mall has really good transit connections, as it connects directly to the subway station. So I'm going to be heading down another set of escalators to the first floor, to level 1 of the mall. This mall has a pretty funny layout, because from where I was starting off, that was level 3. And level 3 is literally the street level of the mall, if you're coming from the Dundas side. So I'm going to be starting off on this floor. So right now I am on level 1 of the mall. So I'm going to start off by walking this way, along this corridor. And every floor of this mall is also pretty big. So basically, Eaton Centre is a multi-level urban mall. It is the mall that's right in the heart of downtown Toronto. For people that are visiting like Toronto from other cities or other countries, like this mall is definitely a place that they should visit. It is a pretty busy day today. I would say that this mall is busy not only on weekends but also on weekdays. There's a lot of it's a very bustling mall, and it's always been a bustling mall. Like, not only do people in Toronto gravitate towards this mall, but people all over the greater Toronto area. This mall has a massive amount of stores. It is also a mall that you will get a lot of steps in though. So I say that for each person, if they're willing to walk every corner in this mall though, they will get a lot of steps in. And because this mall is owned by CF though, it is probably one of CF's main flagship malls. And of course CF owns many other malls too, right? But this is probably their top mall. If you've ever been to other malls like Markville Mall or Fairview Mall though, that's also owned by CF. But it still doesn't beat the size of this mall. As you can see though, if you look up though, it is a multi-level mall. And once you get to the section, you can see the wide glass windows or the soaring glass galleria of the mall. So I'm going to continue walking this way. It's also one of my favorite malls to visit though. I've actually been to this mall many times. I say that compared to many other malls I visit in the greater Toronto area though, I do rank Eaton Centre as one of the top malls. Not only is this a good mall to shop at though, but it's also a good mall for casual hangout. Sometimes it's just a good mall to just walk around. It's getting a little bit more spacious on this side. The view here is probably one of the best, because if you look up though, you can see that's multi-level. You can see the ceiling though, a lot of natural light flowing in. Looks really nice, right? So much natural light flowing in. And what makes this mall unique is especially because there's a fountain in the mall. In the center atrium of the mall, there's a fountain. It makes a lot of sense for the atrium to look like this, because say that a group of people come to this mall, right? If someone gets lost in this mall, all they gotta do is use the fountain as a reference point and meet up at the fountain. If someone ever suggests though, meet up at the fountain, right? it is much easier to like find each other. So the fountain makes a good reference point for those who ever get lost in the mall. So as I'm walking, I'm actually walking south right now, and I am coming to the south end of the mall. As you approach the south end of the mall, you will see that there's a food court called Queen's Cross Food Hall. The fact about this mall is that this mall has two food courts. There's one main one which is on the basement level, which I'll check out eventually, and then there's the second food court, which is the one I'm walking to right now, the other food court, also known as Queen's Cross Food Hall. Queen's Cross Food Hall has more of like a retro design to it. Oh, look at how cool the animations are. That's crazy, right? Look at the animation of these words. Wow, the way the letter flips though, looks so retro. Wow. So it's just so cool to look at, right? So I'm gonna do a walkthrough of this food court called Queen's Cross Food Hall. It is kind of giving me a little bit of a bar vibe, like, or more of like a, what do you call it? You know how bars have dark themes and stuff like that? Bars also have like bright lights. Similar to that font you see over there. You see like the burger place, like the way that those words are designed is like bright lights, you know? Kind of giving me the vibe of a bar. Has some really cool designs. This food court here is not a very big food court. But when I take a walk through the main one later on though, like that's gonna be a much bigger food court. This is like a nice alternative, you know? For a mall to have more than one food court is a nice alternative. And then as you see on this side though, like this is one of the entrances and exits to the mall. It also connects to like the subway station, which makes it pretty accessible to get to the mall. So now I'm gonna walk on the other side of level 1 of the mall. Looks pretty cool, right? I mean, this mall looks really nice. The design of it looks really nice. There are some food vendors along this corridor. It smells nice. I could smell the pretzels from here. Oh, there's a pretzel shop, whatever you call it, Wetzel's Pretzels. And there's a popcorn place, so you're gonna smell a mix of both. Well, one of the most common things you find when it comes to visiting malls is like you get greeted by the smell of food, you know, or a smell of something that's like makes you hungry. And because this mall is so big though, and it has a very like fancy glass galleria, I kind of think of this as a glorified mall. It's not just a standard mall, but it's a glorified mall. So I pretty much walked through this corridor of the mall right over here. So I'm going to take the escalator up and go on the other level. So I'm going to head to level 2 of the mall. So I'm going to go past the fountain and go up these escalators right here. Or just like I was saying earlier though, that for those that are visiting from other cities and they're coming to Toronto though, like definitely include this mall in the attraction list. This mall is definitely a must visit. It is so nice. So I'm gonna start off by walking level 2 this way. I'm gonna head northbound. Like there are times that it might be a little hard to walk in this mall because it is a pretty busy mall. So just if you ever like decide to come to visit this mall or it's your first time coming here, just keep in mind that it can be very busy. I just love it when there's a lot of natural light coming into the mall, you know. The mall has pretty good signage, as you can see though. Like especially the signage like directs you to like certain department stores or major anchor tenants. It even directs you to like the subway station. I would say that the transit connection to this mall is like pretty good though. This mall has pretty good transit connections. So I'm reaching the north end of the mall, and as I reach this side of the mall, this is like pretty much like leads to another like transit connection. So I'm gonna walk around and continue on the rest of like level 2 of the mall. This mall has a bit of a convoluted layout, I think. I know for sure I'm on level 2 of the mall, but there are some people who come here though, and sometimes they mix up level 2 and level 1 because the corridors can be similar, you know? It is easy to get confused or lost when it comes to a pretty big mall like this. So I'm gonna walk south, and I'm gonna walk past the escalators that I came up from. You can see that this quarter of the mall I'm walking in doesn't have as many windows, but I say my favorite parts of the mall has to be the parts where there's like more windows, you know, where there's more natural light coming in. I just like the parts of the mall where it feels brighter, you know. I mean, this part is pretty bright too. But imagine if the lights suddenly turned off or something though, it wouldn't be as bright. Like it would be like some sections of the mall would be pretty dark. Like just imagine if some kind of like power outage happened, and you know what would happen. Like some sections would be pretty dark, but some sections like where it's underneath the glass galleria would still be decently bright. So I'm gonna turn this way. Look at that, man! Long-standing multi-level urban mall, as you can see right there. You can see that at the top though, there's like level 3 of the mall. There's a lot of glass in this. There's a lot of windows in this mall. So I'm going to continue walking along this way. I can tell that some sections of this mall, there's like small steps you have to walk though. So I'd say that each level is not completely flat though. Because each level is kind of like, what do you call it? Maybe the mall is built on the hill or slope. Because I've also heard that I also heard that the mall is like, say for example, you enter from Dundas, you're on level 3 of the mall, right? But if you exit on Quinto, you'll be on level 2 of the mall. So I just realized that this mall is built on a slope. I mean, I've heard that this mall is on a slope, but I'm actually gonna see if it is. Oh, it's pretty spacious here, you know? Pretty sick. And there's a reason to have a lot of space in the mall because, like, I bet this is where they run most of their events. Let's take the view from this side. Wow. The mall's so spacious. So I'm gonna continue walking along south, all the way to the south end of the mall. Then once I get there, I'm gonna head on to like level 3 of the mall. After doing some walking for a while though, you could see that this mall is actually like pretty good for like getting your steps in though, and pretty good for walking. Some malls not so much. Because I say a lot of the other malls I've been to is like significantly smaller than this mall. But at least this mall is a massive one. So I'm gonna head up to level 3. 3rd floor of the mall. It is also pretty exciting to see that there's a Lego store that's coming to this mall. I think a Lego store would be a good fit in this mall. Pretty cool, right? I'm gonna take a look at this part of the mall, then I'm gonna loop around and start walking north on level 3. And just to let you know that this is a very nice bridge, which is part of the Eaton Centre. It is a very modern bridge. So this bridge right here used to connect to the former Hudson's Bay department store. But because Hudson's Bay has shut down though, so now the bridge is only open for like connections to the path system. But it's good that they still decided to keep the bridge open, you know? I think it's a pretty cool bridge to walk on both day and night. At nighttime, it lights up. So now I'm gonna continue walking north of this mall. I think this is like the brightest level of the mall. Like this is the floor that gets exposed to the most natural light. If you look at it, you know. This part you get exposed to the most natural light. Wow. And I'm glad that the mall, like, there's plants though, you know. In a big mall like this, there has to be some plants, you know. There has to be. really feel that this floor of the mall is significantly brighter than the other floors. And it just looks so cool. It is so cool. I just prefer natural light wherever it's possible, you know? Let's take another glance. Now that I'm on the third floor, let's take a look at the lower floor. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. Wow, you could really see the fountain from down there. As you can see that, like the part I'm approaching though, there's like a Flagship Nike store. Well, like Flagship stores do fit this mall though, because Eaton Centre is considered like one of the higher tier malls. You know, like compared to other malls like Markville, like CF Markville or CF Fairview, those are more like mid-tier malls. But even though they're owned by the same company. Let's take another look. That's what it looks like when you're looking at level 1 of the mall. It's all the way down there. And on that side, you can see that there's a section that leads to level 4 of the mall. Like there's a bit of level 4 of the mall, but there's not much up there. I say level 4 though, it leads to like offices. And then if you walk that little bridge right there, it does lead to like parking lots, you know. So there's not much on level 4 of the mall. But I mean, if at level 4, like, and plus the level 4 like of the mall, the escalator is like getting upgraded. I think level 3 is pretty cool though. Actually, because yeah, there's Flagship stores. See, there's like Simon's. There's like, what do you call it? There's like Eatery, which is some like fancy Italian grocery store. I mean, it looks pretty cool. Wow. So now I'm gonna head down to like the food court level. Like there's the other food court I was talking about. The food court that is not Queen's Cross Food Hall. They have a food court called Urban Eatery, and that is their main food court. So I'm gonna be heading down. I'm gonna have to head down like multiple escalators to get to the food court. I feel like the more I look down though, the more I like face my fear of heights. The more I conquer my fear of heights. It's really like not even that scary anymore. It's not even that tall. So now I'm gonna head down the other set of escalators. Actually, I have to head down like after this one. I have to head down like one more set. There's another one that goes to the food court. I don't mind it though. I don't mind like having to walk back and forth because I'm getting exercise. It is pretty bustling today. Wow, pretty busy mall. Now, this is where it leads to the food court, so I'm going to head down these escalators right here. Technically, if you were to count all the floors on this mall, though, including the fourth floor where the escalator was closed, technically the mall would have 5 floors. The reason why I say 5 floors is because you count the food court, you count the 3 main shopping levels, and then you count the floor, one more floor above it though, the one that leads to the offices. But then because there's also an escalator like leading up there, so technically it's 5 floors. I mean, everyone has a different perception of this mall though. Some people say it's 3 floors, not counting the food court. Some people say it's 4 floors. Some people will say it's 5 floors. If they're counting like the floor that I mentioned earlier, where the escalator was closed. This is the food court. Like the floor down here is mainly a food court, except that there's a Sporting Check right next to me, like a Sport Check store. Like the fact that there's a Sport Check store right next to me, that's the only store that's on this floor though. Other than that, it's all food vendors, seats and tables. In this food court, there's plentiful of options. Plentiful of different food options that people can try, you know? For a mall that's this size and a mall that's massive though, of course the food court is also going to be big. So right here, there's supposed to be another set of escalators going up though, but because they are like renovating the escalators. So this section is closed off, as you can see. It is a pretty big food court. Plenty full of seating areas. But even though there's a lot of seats though, sometimes during peak hours, during very busy hours, it is hard to find a seat and a table in this food court. As you can see once again though, there's a Sport Check store right there. So, and that is the only store that is in the food court level. As you can see that it's the only store on this food court level. And the rest of the stores are upstairs. But it is interesting that Sport Check is down here on this floor. If there wasn't a store here though, like imagine, could there have been more seats and tables? But it is cool to see a store down here. I think it works well, you know? I think that like the mall like really utilized the seating space pretty well. They did their best in utilizing the seating space and maximizing seating space, even though it's busy, you know. So now I'm gonna head up these escalators. There is one more section of the mall that I haven't checked out. It's a pretty small section, but I'm going to take a look. Right now I'm heading back to level 1 of the mall. So I'm also going to head to level 2 of the mall, because level 2 is where there's like a small section, a small corridor, which is also part of the mall, but I haven't checked out yet. So I'm going to take a look there. So now I'm back to the north section of the mall. I'm going to head up these escalators, and I'm going to show you the one small path I haven't checked out yet. And the path is going to be on my left side, as you'll see. This mall has pretty good wayfinding though. Because if you look at the signage though, it does point out to it. It does like mark all the major tenants though, popular tenants that you can see. You can see once again it's connected to the subway station, which is pretty convenient. Indoor access to the subway, so you don't have to go outside and then go back inside to get to the subway. So right here, this is the corridor. This is the corridor that I didn't go to yet. So I'm gonna walk this corridor right here. So this corridor here is still part of the mall. It is pretty nice to check out, like you know, like it's like if you visit like a mall for the first time or something, you want to make sure you check out like every section of the mall, because you never know what interesting things you're missing out on, right? Like sometimes you really wouldn't know unless you explore the court. Like you wouldn't know like what there is unless you explore a certain place, you know? You wouldn't know. It's like you can't really judge like, oh, well, like will the path lead to something cool or not cool unless you explore it. Okay, it does lead to a Canadian Tire, which is one of the anchored department stores of the mall. But it's pretty funny to see that this anchored department store, Canadian Tire, is like on the west side of the mall. Kind of like at the end of this corridor. And then there's an escalator going up, so I'm gonna head up that escalator and take a look at what it looks like up there. Oh, there's also another store right here. Very cool. So I'm gonna head up these escalators. Well, this mall is really a lot of walking. It is a lot of walking. It is much bigger than malls like CF Markville and other types of like malls. So I can see that there's a Best Buy right there. So this is it for the mall. I think I walked through all of the mall. What a big mall. What a massive mall. Wow. So I would like to say thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed the walking tour of the mall. Please subscribe to my channel.